On the markets, not too much of a market reaction here. You can see down 18 points. Healthcare stocks, they're actually all up today in reaction to the Republicans' plan. You can see Aetna, United Healthcare, all doing better at this hour. Welcome to the intelligence report. Actually, forgive me. Look at that turnaround. You can see Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare actually turning lower, perhaps in reaction there to what we just heard from Tom Price and also from Sean Spicer. Joining me with reaction to what we heard, former NSA Director and CEO of IronNet Cybersecurity, General Keith Alexander. General, good to have you here, and especially important time to have you here given what we saw from the president over the weekend and given the exchange you heard there with reporters between Sean Spicer and some of the reporters asking about just exactly what evidence the president had to say that President Obama was wiretapping his phones. What's your reaction to that? What was your reaction over the weekend when you first heard it?
I think where it ended up, where Sean Spicer talked about having the intel committees look at this, is actually a great idea. And I know there were people going back and forth, but it gets somebody outside the administration to look at it, and that's the role of Congress, in this case, the two intel committees, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Have them look at it.
So you think there should be an investigation? Well,
it's not so much an investigation in my mind as it is helping people understand how wiretaps work, who's the subject of a wiretap, what happens when you conduct a wiretap, what do you collect, what do you do with that information, and then did everybody do it right? I suspect they did. That I would go in with noble intent. People were trying to do the right things. And I think what this could do is help people understand how wiretaps actually work, how you use them for intelligence and how you use them for law enforcement.
You know, there's a headline that was in the New York Times actually on January 20th, and we can show it to our viewers, and they're talking specifically about wiretapping, saying that people within the Trump campaign, do we have that, guys? Can we show the viewer? There you see wiretapping there happening within the campaign of Trump aides. What do you make of that? Because, you know, if you're Donald Trump, and you see something like that, and then you hear that they were listening to your phone calls, are you saying to yourself, my goodness, like, why on earth would the Obama administration be trying to tap into Trump Tower?
Yeah, so I think it's actually, how do you help somebody who we voted into office to make change, who doesn't understand the entire process of how the government, the FISA court and all that works, know all his people, how do you educate them quickly on what's going on? And show them the noble intent of everything.
So you don't think that this was nefarious? You think that probably there was something else going on that maybe he got caught up in?
Yeah, I would say, so who's the subject of a wiretap? That has to be approved by two or one of the administration officials, Comey or Clapper or one other, and then go to the FISA court. It has to be approved by a judge. And that's for a target of who the intelligence community wants to target for a wiretap. And in this case, that's some foreign dignitary. And if somebody's communicating with them, those communications will also be collected. And then from my job, we had ways to minimize U.S. persons' data. And we had to follow that to the letter and show Congress and the courts that we're doing that right. So the issue, I think, for the American people is to understand how that process goes. And so you can actually see two sides to this. And what you really want is to show we're acting reasonably, we're moving forward. I think that's a good thing. And in this case, I think it will help
and
solve
that potentially, you know, if I'm reading through the lines here, maybe they were investigating someone else who happened to have been making calls that were into Trump Tower, and thus that is the reporting that he got, and that's what got him so upset in the first place. But an investigation would reveal all this and in your view, be healthy, because then the American public would know.
And you'd see it from a bipartisan Congress, both elements, Democrat and Republican, saying, yep, this is the facts.
And the intelligence community would be able to deliver unbiased facts.
Yeah, well, they get all that. So the intel committees would have the facts, and then they could report those back, and people would say, okay, now I understand what the issue was, and what President Trump's issues were, and what the intel agencies who were collecting that data, what they were doing, and what they were responsible for doing.
You can imagine it's been a difficult few days for Comey and Clapper and Trump and everyone else here. But maybe an investigation could clear it all up.
Right.
General, it's really good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.